When somebody is possessed by a demon, usually they are cursed. That is usually a given. And when the author's responsibility is to show how that individual is cursed because they are possessed, does this individual suffer? How do they react? What do they do? How does this monster inside of them directly cause this kid's suffering? In this video, we're going to be analyzing Sukuna and how this mad lad has actually become a true demon in the series and shown how genuinely evil having a monster inside of you can be. There have been a lot of shows that have done this successfully in the past, but they pull a 180. But Sukuna is one of those characters that doesn't do a 180. He does a 360, doubles down, and makes everyone look like shit. Because that's the thing I love about the show. All these questions are answered in this show by Sukuna. And this video will aim to show or deliver how Sukuna impacts the series and how he is truly one of the most despicable evil characters and why we enjoy his presence very much so. When talking about a character like him who can be both so despicable and unruly but yet so enjoyable, how do you create both these effects? How do you create this desire? How do you create such a character like him that you can potentially use in your own story? Well, it has to do with two things: both his strength, his charisma, and the fact his actions and how it potentially impacts the series going forward. Okay, let's first talk about one of these points. His crimes are incredibly disturbing and despicable, alright? One of the things that he's known to continuously do is that he continues to torture my boy Yuji with every chance he gets. The moment he knew he could run wild, he tore Itadori's heart out and was actively planning to make the situation worse than it already should have been. Because it was at the detention center when Sukuna came out with Yuji's assistance voluntarily. Literally, Sukuna's first thoughts was to make the situation worse for the entire team, to wipe out everybody as he possibly could. Like, you gotta understand this man's mentality. He's trying to make the situation worse for the protagonist with what little power he's given. Second, this man kills off people who are helping him just for the fun of it. You all know what scene I'm talking about. Especially the one where how he dealt with Jogo, the human brats that fed him the finger, and he killed a bunch of people in Shibuya, causing an immense massacre of the people when it was completely unnecessary, okay? Like, he literally killed the human brats just by saying, or just by asking him to do something for him. He was like, nah, bitch. And then for Jogo, he's like, I'll do what I want, but if you entertain me for a little while, I'll consider doing what you want. Like, this guy is so fucked in the head. And it's not just his words, his actions follow through with that. And that's what makes it so entertaining. Also, I just want to say this. What was the point of Sukuna asking the kids and Jogo what they want, and then immediately after deciding to kill them or toy with them, immediately after those guys have made their request? I'm almost convinced he did this just to entertain himself by wondering what they would do or why would they commit their own suicide. I'm completely aware that he said he would give the characters one finger's worth of their time, realistically, but was he ever going to fulfill that request those characters made of him? Even if it wasn't a binding vow? Hell no. That's why Sukuna challenged Jogo to square up, because there's no way he was losing, and it was all for Sukuna just to entertain himself. And we know for a fact that he can focus. I'm talking about the Shibuya incident. We know for a fact that when Sukuna pulled out the domain expansion fighting Maharaga, I butchered the name, don't quote me on that. We know for a fact that all the slash attacks could have been focused on Maharaga, or like any other instance he's brought up the Maleficent Shrine. But no, this man chooses to do a mass genocide just to fuck with Yuji. He literally kills 30,000 people or more just to torture Yuji. It is so fucked. And just to play off his idea that he is mentally torturing Yuji and making the situation worse in the plot by being this utterly despicable, was him casually one-shotting Mahito, mainly because it inconvenienced him. I mean, this may seem like a win in our books, and this may have been overlooked in the series as a whole, but we need to remember his mindset here, Sukuna's mindset here. Mahito simply inconvenienced Sukuna, and because of that, he was eliminated for showing his presence and not listening to Sukuna. He only forgave him the first time because Mahito was helping Sukuna torture Yuji. Only reason why he was forgiven the first time. And this is a bit of manga spoilers, so if you haven't read up the manga, just skip to like the next time period. But him kidnapping Megumin's body, he literally abuses the shit out of other 10 shadow techniques just to kill his sister. So that he could like this man is literally torturing what? Yuji? And once he's done torturing Yuji, he moves on to his next victim, Megumi. Just so that he could take up all of his powers, kill his own sister in front of him, and then do what he wants with his body. And kill his teacher as well. This man is like literally fucked in the head. You need to understand, there's no other way of doing this. He's literally bent the plot to his will just to show how fucked up things can get. Like, if Sukuna was so great, so strong and evil, he was doing everything he could to mentally cripple Megumin. My second point is that he is so evil, so villain-like, it's actually refreshing and enjoyable in the series. Someone who takes pride in being a villain. Okay, there's just no complicated backstory here, not yet anyways. His scenes in the show have been very short, but yet very impactful and very sparse. Like, we know that when this guy shows up on screen, shit is about to go down. If you've seen my Toji video, this guy is pretty much the same thing here. When he shows up, shit's ready to go down. Another thing we gotta point out is that he's strong and very much plays a prideful role without any doubt, any drop in foreshadowing, or not foreshadowing, any drop in confidence. And the moment Gojo goes toe-to-toe with Sukuna on like a back and forth seesaw sort of like battle, we see Sukuna struggle on the receiving end, and people are starting to back Gojo because of like all the evil like what Sukuna's done. So like Gojo's literally the underdog here, or Sukuna is. I don't remember who's the underdog with who, because like you're literally pitting the strongest person of the time versus the strongest person in history. So this is going to be an interesting battle of the series. But the moment like what we begin to question Sukuna's like what effectiveness as like this unstoppable force of nature, because Gojo was simply there, people were flat out call Sukuna a fraud and like the malfunctioning shrine because of like this drop in strength and drop in confidence, not being able to back his talk or walk the walk. That is simply when like people started losing faith in him. And when he finally goes for the kill with Gojo, everybody's faith was restored in Sukuna being the truest of all evils. So you gotta see, strength does play a part in this, but so does the confidence. Without the confidence, without the smirk, without the smile, and the actions to back it up, all three of these have to go together to make him so enjoyable and villain-like in this series. Because everything this guy has done has not only made Yuji worse, but has made the plot entirely worse. And of course, going back to my previous point about him being so despicable that he's just simply existing to ruin the scene or just to fuck with Yuji whatsoever, simply because Yuji was just a 15-year-old brat that came out of nowhere that managed to suppress him. I feel like there is motive behind, this is purely speculation by the way, there is motive that he wants to torture Yuji for as long as he possibly can and just kill everyone around him just to mess with him. It's going to be bad for Yuji, but this is all that I wanted to talk about. I just wanted to reflect on how great of a character Sukuna is. I utterly hate him, and that's great. That's a good villain in the writing, and that's what's made fantastic. Of course, the latest chapter that dropped has Sukuna being slapped in the middle of a judge and jury trial. We have no idea how that's going to work, and we've been kind of like blue-balled with Sukuna versus Yuji and the judge guy for like a full 2 months when we've just been watching Comic Relief versus Ghetto, and that was fun. But yeah, enough about my rambling. This is the video about Sukuna. Can't wait for the series to end. Usually I don't like talking about characters until the series is completely done with them, but I just had to make this video. I couldn't get this off my mind. This was truly entertaining. It was truly a back and forth sort of thing, especially with this character, and seeing how a character's fate has been restored was the whole reason why like I wanted to make this video. Like, everybody appreciated him being the most evilest person to exist. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah.